guys, the Bench Buddies are back with NFL Power Rankings Week 4. I'm doing it a little late here because of Hurricane Ian, but before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, get us to 200 subscribers, and we'll be doing that autographed item giveaway. But we'll start here at 32 with the Texans falling. Tough showing against the Bears, still looking for their first win. Dameon Pierce had his breakout game this year. Davis Mills, pretty solid, just needs to get those turnovers down as they look to go upset the Chargers at home this week. 31, you got the Seahawks, another tough loss for them. This week they go into Detroit, who's losing a few players. They could pull off the upset there, but they just need Geno Smith to kind of have a similar day against that Lions defense, who's given up a lot of points, but can they finish the deal? Is that going to be the deal for the Seahawks? 30, we got the Commanders. They got sacked 9 times, Carson Wentz did. And this pretty much wasn't a game at all. They're on 24-0 at half. Wentz, added over 200 passing yards, but other than that, this team couldn't really do much. They're looking for a much-needed win in Dallas. 29, we got the Panthers beat the Saints, which was for their first victory of the year. Pretty much the defense kind of carried this one in the beginning. They had the scoop and score touchdown. CMC was good on the ground. Baker threw for a touchdown as well. But we're going to see if they can rebound and get to 500 against the Cardinals. 28, we get the Falcons moving up a few spots. And in Seattle, they get their first win on the road. Kyle Pitts had his decent game of the year. Cordell Patterson had an excellent game, and Mariota's playing pretty good this year. Nothing like top 10 worthy, but he's definitely a top 15 quarterback playing this year for sure. And he's playing better than Matt Ryan, who they got rid of to bring in Mariota. 27, we have the Jets falling. Tough luck against the Bengals. Pretty much got humbled after their win the week before against the Browns. Going into Pitt this week, a battle of the 1 and 2s. Zach Wilson's going to be starting this week, so we're going to see how he does. But that's the big storyline around the Jets right now. 26, we have the Lions. They should have won against the Vikings, but they blew that 10-point lead. Didn't score in the fourth quarter. DeAndre Swift and Amon St. Brown are out this week, so it's going to be Jamal Williams and Khalif Raymond, Craig Reynolds. Some backup guys for the Lions are going to have to get it done against the Seahawks. But as long as Jared Goff's there and he's playing how he's playing, it's definitely possible that they can get that done. 25, we have the Bears moving up after their win against the Texans on the last second field goal. Khalil Herbert's going to be filling in this week as well for Montgomery. He's hurt, but Herbert had a great showing, 169 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And Fields, it seems like there's reports where he's unhappy in Chicago. Could be true, could be false, but he really hasn't been throwing the ball at all. But they're 2-1 here, looking to go 3-1. 24, we have the Giants, and most of the only thing you need to know is Daniel Jones just didn't play well in that game. The Cowboys kind of humbled them. Their defense stood tall. Saquon did okay, but nothing too special besides that 30-something yard run for touchdown. But they're looking to rebound against the Bears this week. 23, we have the Raiders, the only 0-3 team in the league, and they have another tough luck loss in Tennessee. Face the Broncos this week, looking to get on the board. But they don't have Hunter Renfrow for the second straight game. Matt Collins, can he have a repeat performance? And if he does, maybe they can get a win against a very tough Broncos defense. 22, we have the Steelers dropping 2, lost on Thursday Night Football to the Browns. You can tell that they need something to change on offense. Didn't score at all in the second half, or they did score in the second half, but they just did not exist in the second half. Trubisky just did his part, I guess, ho-hum. But maybe Pickett is closer than we think he's going to be. 21, we have the New England Patriots, and Mac Jones, question mark, his injury out for the year, week-to-week basis, who knows. But Brian Hoyer is going to start in Green Bay today, and he's 0-11 in his last 11 starts. So, not a sign of positivity there for New England. 20, we have the Titans, and they're moving up after their first win against the Raiders. They did go scoreless in the second half, but the defense held in the 2-point conversion to get the win. Tannehill doing just, another mediocre performance. Maybe Malik Willis showing could be coming if this team starts to slide a little bit. The Colts moving up a lot here with the big win over the Chiefs. The touchdown pass late pulled off the upset, and the defense stood tall with Mahomes as they couldn't really do anything in that last 30 seconds that they had to possibly go down the field and get a field goal. But Matt Ryan had his first decent game with the Colts. Jonathan Taylor this year has been pretty good. Obviously not the touchdown numbers that a lot of fantasy owners would like to see, but he's doing pretty good for his own part. 18, you got the Saints dropping back after their loss in Carolina. They're currently playing the Vikings right now in London, losing, but could be changing here shortly with 2 minutes to go. But this Saints team, they don't have Jameis. It's Andy Dalton today. They don't have Michael Thomas or Kamara, so they're injury bug already hitting them early. 17 of the Cardinals, they had their second loss this year to the Rams. They were down in a hole early, and that's kind of how this game ended. Marquise Brown, Greg Dortch have been going off these first 3 weeks, but Kyler Murray, just can't get it done when needed of him. I think they can get the win in Carolina today. It's just going to be a matter of time before the Cardinals really pick things up. 16, you have the Bengals. They beat the Jets and beat the Dolphins, but this is last week's as well, so they'll be moving up for sure next week. But Burrow had 2 great performances, and I expect the Bengals to bounce back and possibly even break 500 next week. 15, you have the Browns. They beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Amari Cooper went over 100 yards. Nick Chubb, same. And Jacoby Brissett had his best game as a Brown on Thursday night. But this Browns team has a tough division. They're all kind of same skill sets there. And besides the Ravens, I think the Ravens have the edge. But other than that, anyone else could come in second place. And we have the Jaguars moving up a ton here over their win in LA in a complete blowout fashion. They're moving up to 14. And if they can beat the Eagles this week, this is a top 10 team for sure, no doubt. Maybe week 1 was a fluke, but it's obviously been the James Robinson show. And Trevor Lawrence had his best game of the year last week, 3 tutties. And this Jaguars team, hopefully they can get better here because this might be the old Jaguars team that a lot of people were used to seeing. 13, you have the Niners, and obviously the story for them is Garoppolo stepping out of the back of the end zone. Very ugly game, but the one thing on the positive note is they are a top 2 defensive team at 1 and 2. If they can get the offense playing a little better, this Niners team can probably win a few more games. Cowboys coming in at 12 after their win on Monday Night Football against the Giants. Cooper Rush played good. He's 2-0 this year as a starter. Pollard and Zeke are almost at 200 total yards in that game with a touchdown. And, that's been the story. Zeke and Pollard have been doing it on the ground, while Cooper Rush has been doing play action, drawing safeties in and throwing over the top. But this Cowboys team could be 3-1 here, and question marks around Dak's return. Could return as soon as next week. 11, we have the Broncos moving up 1 spot with a close victory over the Niners. Whenever this team can heat up on offense, Russell Wilson speaking mostly, this can be a very dangerous team. Their defense is a top 3 team. Offense is bottom tier. But if Wilson has a breakout game, gets his receivers involved, Javonte Williams has a day, this Broncos team could easily put up 30 at any time. It's just a matter of when. Starting the top 10, we have the Vikings creeping back in. They're playing the Saints right now, currently tied actually since the last time I checked at 25. They beat the Lions, came back and beat them last week. Kirk Cousins had a great game, putting on another good showing this week. And we're going to see if the Saints we're going to see if they can beat the Saints here with the last second. At 9, we have the Chargers falling just to 9. I can't overreact a little bit. They had some injuries, and they had Herbert obviously playing hurt, but they just didn't look like the same Chargers team they did in weeks 1 and 2. So I can't, overreact here and drop them out of the top 10. But they have a good chance to rebound this week in Houston. But if they don't do that, then this team could be falling very quickly. 8, we have the Ravens moving up with their win in New England, but they have a tough test this week at home against the Bills. I'm liking Lamar. He's pretty much MVP through 3 weeks, going off. Mark Andrews as well, his best receiver, going off as well. But it's just going to be a matter of when this team is going to pay Lamar, because they want to lock him up, because if he's going to put up these numbers, you definitely don't want him walking away from your franchise. 7, staying put, we have the Rams with their close victory against the Cardinals. They're up 13-0 in the second quarter and then kind of coasted the victory. Nothing too spectacular from this Rams team. Stafford throwing for 250. But, they have a tougher test this week against a tough defense, and we'll see how the Rams match up with the Niners. 6, we have the Bucs dropping out of the top 5. They lost to the Packers, my Packers, and the last second, couldn't get the 2-point conversion to send the game to overtime. Russell Gage had a great day, 12 receptions, 87 yards and a tutty. Brady, however, just did okay, just couldn't get anything moving on the Packers defense. It wasn't mostly his fault. He had a few drops, fumbles, and they just kind of hurt themselves in the foot and looking to rebound against the Chiefs tonight on Sunday Night Football. At 5, we have those Chiefs dropping 2-5 after the loss to the Colts. They give up that last-second touchdown to get upset in Indy. Only 58 rushing yards on the ground, where Mahomes had just an okay day for his standards. But, playing tonight in Tampa, whoever wins that game is for sure going to be in the top 5 next week. 4, we have the Eagles staying put. Tough matchup against the Jaguars. And, I can't rank them in the top 3 just yet because of who they've played. Haven't played the best teams, Lions, Commanders, and can't remember who they played week 2. But nobody with a winning record right now. And I think we're going to see if the Eagles are really going to be the Eagles here, if they can get this win against the Commanders. At 3, we got my Packers moving back up into the top 5. And this is mostly in part to going on the road in Tampa, getting a win against Tom Brady. They held Tampa to 34 rushing yards. Romeo Doubs had his best game of the year. And Rodgers came through when they needed him most, getting those 2 touchdowns. And the ground game as well was really consistent, making drives last longer than they should have, converting key 3rd and shorts. And that's what led to the win for the Green Bay Packers. At 2, we have the Buffalo Bills, and they're dropping after that tough loss. Micah Hyde's obviously out for the year. They played without Gabe Davis, played without a lot of key pieces in the secondary as well. And, I was tempted to leave this team at 1, but I just couldn't because of the Dolphins and how good they've been. But Allen obviously throwing for 402 touchdowns, and he's doing, excellent this year, but they just couldn't gut out that win for him. Net 1, we have those Dolphins, even though they're 3-1 technically now after the loss to the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Tua, will he be able to return for week 5? That's a big question mark. But in the game against the Bills, he did pretty good, not throwing the ball too much, but Miami struggled on the ground, and that's something they need to improve in, not just, going forward, but this whole year as well, just because this team, just needs to depend on the grounding game a little more than the throwing game, just because Tua is better off of play action. And that's going to be it for the video today. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, hit the like button as well, and leave a comment where your team ranks. But until the next time, Bench Buddies are out.